Welcome to Real Estate Talk with your host, Ken Sax. This show is created for you, the consumer. Our goal is to empower you with information and education, thereby giving you the tools needed to make informed decisions when it comes to real estate. Real Estate Talk is brought to you in part by the Spokane Association of Realtors. Here's your host, Ken.
Welcome, folks. You are listening to and viewing Real Estate Radio, and I'm your host, Ken Sax. And we have a very robust market, not only here in Spokane, not only here in Washington, but across the country. And there are certain things that you need to understand about such a market, an appreciating market, a market where we have supply is low and demand is high. And there are things you need to understand regardless of what side of the transaction you're on. Are you a buyer? Are you a seller? We're going to talk about you're a seller and what you need to know, because we are seeing some very interesting things occurring, things that we see all the time with appreciating markets, but things that if you don't understand them, they're going to hurt you and they're going to hinder your ability to achieve the goals that you're trying to achieve. And I'm speaking specifically about overpricing your homes. Here in Spokane, we're sitting with about 2 months inventory. What does that mean when I say 2 months inventory? That's a very important number, a very important statistic we look at. 2 months inventory tells us a few things. Number one, it tells us we are in a deep seller's market. And the other thing it tells us and what it means is that at our current pace of units sold per month, without any more units coming on the market, at 2 months inventory, it would take 2 months to exhaust the market. So if we have 100 homes on market, we'll have the numbers easy. 100 homes on market, we're selling 50 homes a month. In 2 months, they'll be gone. That's 2 months inventory. So that tells us it's a deep, deep seller's market. So what's happening with sellers is they become overconfident and they then begin overpricing their homes. And there are things that you'll need to know that will happen to you if you fall into that. So here with me is my guest, Cristi Arleth. Cristi, say hello and give us a brief introduction.
Hi, my name is Cristi. I work for Keller-Williams. I've been in real estate for about 7 years. I enjoy listing homes the most. I do buyers and sellers. I have a buyer's agent that works with me. Her name's Amanda Burkholder. That's kind of a little bit about me.
Good. And so Cristi has experienced, as have all of us who are active full-time real estate agents, the dynamics that we're getting ready to talk about. So Cristi, I'm a seller. I'm getting ready to put my house on the market, and I am telling you what I want to list my house for, and you're thinking, oh no, I have my work cut out for me. What are some of the issues that I have no idea I'm going to be dealing with, but you know?
Exactly. And this happens all the time and sellers want to get the most for their home. Of course. Which we want to get the most for their home also.
Absolutely.
That's our goal.
Absolutely.
That's, we want the best for the sellers. But we also want their home to sell quickly. And we want it to sell, in a reasonable amount of time. And we don't want it to sit there and be stagnant on the market.
Right.
So overpricing your home does nothing but hurt the seller, and in the long run, costs them more money.
Sure.
One of the first thing that can really happen to them is for it to become stagnant in the market. Buyers nowadays they're very educated.
There's a lot of information at our fingertips.
Yep. And buyers don't come into the market with a realtor most of the time.
Right.
They are coming in knowing what house they want. They're picking a house and then finding a realtor to help them with that.
They have spent, the statistics tell us how many months before they even call us?
Exactly.
7, 8 months before they even call us. They have been online doing their homework, researching, watching the market, watching what homes sell for.
Yep.
They can come in with more knowledge and information than the realtor they're talking to.
Oh, most definitely. And they'll tell you what homes are worth in that neighborhood.
That's right. That's right. So sellers, you need to understand buyers are not buyers are well informed. Trying to find a nice way to say that. They're well informed when they come into the market. You can't just pull the wool over their eyes and say, well, my house is worth this much.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
they're
buyers
very educated.
Buyers are coming in super educated, and I want to overprice my home.
Yes. So the first thing they're going to do is, when they're looking at your home that is overpriced, is they're going to look at that home, know what homes in that neighborhood are worth, and they're just going to skim right past your home. They're not even going to walk in your front door.
Because they will immediately identify that your home is overpriced, and that's because they're out looking for homes in their price range.
Exactly.
And they're looking at, 3, 4, 5 homes or more in their price range. Then they come to your house, whether it's online or they drive up, or maybe they even go in and immediately identify it as overpriced.
Exactly.
Yet the person who's going to buy your house is not even looking at it,
That's exactly right.
because they're looking at homes that are priced appropriately
Yep.
for what they are approved for, and your house, overpriced seller, is not even in the mix.
Not at all. Not at all. No, and what you end up doing is selling the competition.
That's right, because they go in, they look at homes priced appropriately, go into your house, oh my gosh, this house is really overpriced, and it makes the other homes look even better.
Totally.
And yes, you're selling not even the competition, because these homes aren't competing with you,
Well,
but
true.
you're selling those homes.
You're selling other homes that are, in their price range
Right. That is
that you were trying to
key.
be in.
That is key
Yeah.
to understand, sellers. Your
Yeah.
buyer is not even going to see your house.
No.
Because you're
Not at all.
overpriced.
Not at all.
Good. Okay, that's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
The other thing is, again, on being stagnant in the market, is the longer you are on the market, especially in this seller's market.
Especially this market.
The longer you're on the market, in a buyer's mind, and this is just, it becomes a psychological thing. The longer you are on the market, the more in a buyer's mind is there's something wrong with your home.
Sure.
It's, it's kind of that, it's the last thing, it's, the last person chosen.
Right.
It's the last cookie in the jar.
Right.
There's got to be something wrong with it. Why is it still there? Why hasn't anybody else bought it? Why does nobody else want it? If nobody else wants it,
Right. So homes are selling 30, 45 days, and your house has been sitting for 3 months.
right. What's wrong with it?
And not only the buyer has that perception, but I've had realtors
Mm-hmm.
call on homes I've had on the market.
Oh, me too.
Longer than, and say, Ken, what's wrong with it?
Exactly.
So not only the buyers,
Mm-hmm.
but the buyer realtors are out there thinking what's wrong with it, and they're having that conversation
Yep.
with their buyer. Okay, I'll find out what's wrong with the house.
Yep.
Well, other than overpriced, there may be nothing wrong with it.
Exactly.
But that perception is suicide for a seller.
Totally.
It's suicide. Remember, this is an emotional business, and people are making their decisions based on emotions. And to them, something's wrong, something's broken. I don't want anything to do with it.
Yep.
And it's a great house. It's just overpriced.
It's just overpriced. It's
Suicide.
just overpriced.
Suicide. That's seller suicide.
You could have the best house in the world, and you overprice that thing 10, 15, 20%, and you have just committed suicide on
Right.
your house.
Yes.
It's
Good. Okay. What else? I want to overprice my house. I'm still not convinced. Because my dad is telling me what to do, because the last time my dad sold a house was 35 years ago.
Right.
And so he's an expert.
Yep.
And he's telling me now how to sell my house. So he's saying, Ken, overprice your house.
Yeah. And, we get a lot of those because
Yes,
they
we
want to
do.
talk about negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
If I price my house, if you bring me the comps, you're the real estate agent, and you have brought the seller real estate comps that show that your house is worth $285,000. This is what your house comps at.
Right.
And so I bring you those comps, and this is what my house is worth. Great. I want to list it at $300,000. Why do you want to list it at 300,000? Well, I want to be able to negotiate down.
Oh, yeah, negotiate.
I want to negotiate down.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that mentality. You know, you don't want to. I don't want to have to come down from 285.
Right.
Well, understand that we are in a seller's market. You hold the cards in this
Right,
market.
right.
It's a market where you, the seller, are not having to give up things.
Right.
This is not a buyer's market. They are not. Buyers are flocking to
Yes.
find your home.
Yes. Yes.
You as a seller are not going to have to negotiate down a whole
Right.
bunch. In fact, you're probably, if you price your house right, going to get more than one offer on your home.
That's right. So it's a different set of dynamics in this market than maybe what you're used to in the last time you were in the market, in that list to sales price are pretty much identical, if not more than
Yep.
list price. And what Christy's talking about is the world of multiple offers, which we're seeing plenty of multiple
Yep.
offers.
Especially in certain price ranges.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so then you'll even net more for your house as long as it's priced appropriately in the beginning. But again, in this market, you're going to get offers pretty close to what you're asking,
Yeah.
if not what you're asking, if not more than what you're asking.
Exactly.
So it's not that old set of dynamics from the buyer's market where we have to create that cushion.
Yep.
Stop it.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
What else we got?
So pricing your home, one of the biggest keys about pricing your home is appraisal.
Ooh, boy.
We have to be very, very careful, and especially in this market, and I know I keep saying especially, but this market is just a very, very touchy market.
Yes.
And appraisers are making us stick very closely to market value.
Even more so now because, you know, it wasn't too long ago we were in a recession.
Yes.
And a lot of lessons were learned,
Yep.
a lot of policy changes were made. And so, like what you're saying, Cristi, where we may have had a little more flexibility pre-recession,
Yep.
and now having come out the other end of the recession, the appraisers are like, yeah, no, we're
No,
not going to give
no,
you that
We're
flexibility.
not getting anything. In fact, we're seeing sometimes lower appraisals. So we have to be very, very careful when we bring our comps and make sure that our comps, when we bring them to our sellers, are very, very careful, and we're checking those numbers very, very carefully.
That's right. And, you know, I'm getting away from producer, and we're going to continue talking about appraisals and appraisers when we come in after our break. But right now, folks, we're going to go into our 2-minute break. Real Estate Radio with Ken Sax, my host, Cristi Arleth. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Is your child having trouble coping with a personal disability, but don't know where to go? Consider our friends at Breakthrough Incorporated. Breakthrough takes great pride in mentoring their DDA clients who have intellectual disabilities and their BRS clients who have challenging behaviors toward the creation of safe, appropriate, ethically sound life goals. They integrate programs at school and home to enrich their lives. They work hard to make a positive difference in you and your family's lives. Breakthrough provides a highly structured, fully staffed residential setting in local neighborhoods, 6 in Spokane and 2 in the Tri-Cities. Diagnoses affect people differently, so their service to each resident is unique, giving them the opportunity to grow and evolve. For more information on Breakthrough, visit their website at breakthroughincorporated.org.
Hi, this is Kurt Stockwell with Well Dressed Walrus. We are a local website design and development company here in Spokane. What we do is build beautiful, usable websites for local businesses. A website needs to be beautiful, it needs to be usable for your users, your customers, and yourself. Contact us anytime. We'd love to talk with you about your online marketing.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org.
Welcome back, folks. Again, I am Ken Sax. You're listening to Real Estate Radio, and my guest, Cristi Arleth with Keller-Williams. And we are talking about the issues with sellers and overpricing your homes. And we've talked about a lot of very interesting dynamics that sellers really set themselves up for failure in doing this and overpricing their home. And we went into break talking about appraisers and having to get the house appraised. Of course, that's another element and another issue you're going to have to overcome, assuming your buyer is getting a loan. Yet we also have cash buyers have the ability to get an appraisal done as well. So it's not just if your buyer's getting a loan, because cash buyers can make the transaction contingent on an appraisal. So let's talk a little more about appraisals, because it's important to understand overpriced seller. You think, you know, your house is worth this much. Even if we find somebody that is willing to pay that, your house now goes off the market for 15, 20, 21 days until we get the appraisal back. So you've now lost 2 to 3 weeks of market time while we're waiting for the appraisal to come back. And what if it comes back low? So let's talk a little more about appraisals. And you were sharing a pretty good story with me, too, that I think is worth sharing to our audience.
Yeah. So I had some sellers who I brought them comps, gave them a number. They wanted to go.
Said, here's what it's worth.
Here's what it's worth. And they wanted to go about $30,000 over.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. And they, you know, their house was the best.
Had all the reasons,
all the reasons in the world.
Yeah, rationalizing.
And sometimes you just really cannot. You
Right.
can communicate everything in the world. You can give them all the statistics,
Right.
everything. So they wanted to stick with that number. So
Can't we just try?
yeah, and that was kind of the thing. And so I had the conversation with them. I said, look, if I'm going to take this listing, it will be on a 1-week trial. And they agreed, and we signed the paper that it would be a 1-week trial.
Yep.
And of course, 1 week, and we had 0 showings, literally 0 showings.
That is the market telling you you are obnoxiously overpriced.
Obnoxiously. That's a very good word.
Yes.
And we literally had nothing. I had not one phone call, nothing, which I told them, no showings means we are overpriced, because if
Right.
a
Offensively
house, if a house
overpriced.
hits the market, and they were a good price range,
Yeah.
if a house hits the market and there are no showings, it's overpriced.
Yeah,
There's
you're
no
offensive.
other reason, because it's a cute house.
Sure.
There's no other problems with this house. So we dropped the price down, not to where I had told them, but closer, and we got a offer pretty quickly to where closer to where I had placed
Sure.
it, and they took it. It then went under contract, and we had an inspection issue, so it went off of the market. And the inspection issue was not anything wrong with the house. It was really the buyer.
Sure.
And I really think it was a price issue after talking to the agent. So the house was then off the market. So now we're almost, I think, 18, 19 days off the market. So we're now off the market, and we have to go back on the market.
Oh, boy. And back on after the inspection contingency. So all the red flags, all
every
the
red
perception
flag in
is
the world.
What is wrong with the house?
Yep.
It didn't pass the inspection.
So now we're back on, and they don't want to drop the price.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So we go back on, same price, and we actually did get another offer, I think mostly because we're in a market where there's nothing on the market.
Sure.
So we did get another offer after about 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
finally back under contract. But it is a market where you do these things that you think, hey, I'm going to get
Right.
more money, or I'm going to be able to leave myself budge room where I can negotiate down, or And with that house, there is no way it would have ever appraised.
Right.
I'm in a situation now where even where it's sitting, I'm worried about appraisal, and
Sure.
we're waiting for appraisal to come back at this point, and
Sure.
I'm nervous about the appraisal because we're still about 5,000 to 8,000 over where I think it should be.
Yeah, I get that. And I was telling you about a situation where I had the house listed, and it was listed about $15,000 over the highest comp. And so I said, look, that's anything more than that, I probably won't work with you. So he said, well, could we just bump it another 5? And I said, well, we'll do it for a week. But if we get an offer, I'm not going to sleep because it's not going to appraise.
Right.
We get, over the weekend, a cash offer from somebody on the other side of the state and no appraisal. So I thought, what are the odds of that?
Yeah.
And then they do
Take it and run.
they do their inspection, and they come back and they want just simple things, and it amounted to about $300. And Mr. Seller, no, that's not right. I'm not going to pay that. That's not a legitimate request. I said, stop it. You're paying it. We're going to be done with this. There's no appraisal. I said, think of it this way. What we were asking was $20,000 over the highest appraised home. Just subtract $300 from that and think of it as a cash offer for that amount.
Exactly.
Is what we got.
Yep.
And I thought, I am not letting you counter or not do this silly fix.
Yep.
Just $300.
Yep.
And it's those darn emotions.
Yep.
Those emotions.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so appraisals, guys, you still got to get it appraised.
Yep.
And you're really going to kill yourself if that appraisal comes in low. You're off market. Now you got to come back on market. Now something's wrong. The house is broken. At least that's the perception. So appraisals, big deal. You had an interesting comment. You were talking about statistics where, and you may not remember the exact statistic, but tell us the idea of overpricing versus a home that's legitimately priced, how much they end up selling for.
Oh, yeah, I saw a statistic, and I don't remember the percentage rate, but that homes that are priced correctly sell for a higher, they sell quicker.
Yep.
And at a higher percentage than homes that are overpriced. That homes overpriced end up selling for less than market value. When they finally sell, they end up selling for less than market value.
Sure, and probably everything we've talked about where it's on the market, then it goes off as contingent on inspection, appraisal comes in low, or you don't want to do the $300 repair, and then it comes back on, perception is it's broken.
That's right.
And you're starting to, your motivation is changing now as a seller because you've gone 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. You really have to get to your next city or your next house for your
Right.
job or whatever.
Or you've
reason.
already put an offer on another house.
You've already put an offer.
Yeah, whole bunch of things.
So now you're like, oh my gosh, just buy my house.
Yep.
And now you're softening up, and that's why you end up selling for less than what you would have sold for had you just listened to your realtor professional.
I think that's the key is, finding an agent that you trust, and then actually trusting and believing them, and knowing that they have your best interests at heart. And they're, I think the mentality of you're trying to just sell my house too quick. Well, no, I'm trying to just get your house sold. My goal is to do the best job for you. My job is to price your house correctly. That's what I do all day long, every day, is I comp houses. I know how to do it. I do it well.
That's right.
And I'm bringing you the comps. I don't make them up.
Yeah, trust your professional, and I'm getting the 30-second wave here from the producer, and that reminds me of a show we did about what goes into choosing a realtor,
Yep.
and so often it's, well, a friend of a friend, or stop, who's competent, interview them, what's
Yep.
their experience, how long have they been in business. This is the
Exactly.
most expensive transaction in your life.
That's right.
And you're going to work with somebody who's a friend of a friend of a friend that has, I don't know, something that you like. And that's the reason, that's the logic that's going behind
Yep.
who you're hiring. And then you can end up with all these issues.
Exactly.
And I think you said it best when we were coming here. Do you want to list your home? or do you want it sold?
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Cristi Arleth, my guest today. Cristi's phone number, I haven't given that out yet. You want to reach out to Cristi, 509-993-7597. Cristi, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks a lot, Ken.
And thank you for listening, folks. You have been listening to Real Estate Radio with Ken Sax. We'll see you next time.
Real Estate Talk is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Ask Ken a question, recommend a guest, and watch this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Real Estate Talk is brought to you by our friends at Spokane Association of Realtors. We wish you a great day.